The JOLTS report pointed to it. The ADP numbers confirmed it. But today we got the Goldilocks September job numbers. 254,000 jobs, a 4.1% unemployment, as well as upward revisions on the last 2 months. Full employment means the Fed has won. It means soft landing. And today I'm going to take you into the SPY because the big question is technically, what did the charts leave us with after the end of this important data week? It started off with a literal hurricane storm, but by the end of the week, the sun has shined through on these markets, illuminating that golden door of Wall Street, but we absolutely kicked it down today. If you didn't make money today, you're doing something wrong. Today in the VIP live trading sessions, it was easy to figure out that it was time to jump into puts. We profited on the way down. We hit the bottom and then we rode Tesla calls back up. Let me know in the chat if you made some money with me today. If you don't know what I'm talking about with the Stocks with Josh Discord. ChartGoat University. A ton of education is being dropped there. It's not just about giving you a hot play. It's teaching you how to do the fishing, how to read the charts, and how to get a better handle on your own investing strategy because you cannot rely on anyone else. You've got to figure out those charts. Come learn the charts with me. Trade alongside of me. Join the Stocks with Josh Discord. There's a ton of great traders in there. It's a wonderful community. In addition to that, I'm going to be in the Chicagoland area. I'm going to be doing the Music and Money event that Larry Jones is hosting. Me, Larry Jones, and Chris Sain will be in Maryville, Indiana on October 12th. I'm going to leave a link in the top pinned comment for that. Okay, guys, dock workers strike unexpectedly has been kicked down the road till January. There's one takeaway from that, and that's that election years are not a joke. I don't know what calls were made. What had loomed over the economy is now in the rearview mirror or on the road ahead of us. Surprisingly, it's been pushed down to January, which would perfectly coincide with a pullback in 2025 that we've been talking about. But we don't have to worry about that today, because we've got some incredible confirmation on the SPY I'm going to go over with you guys that's pointing to a much bigger move higher. Now, it could be a bull trap. I will talk about how to discern one way or the other. And then I'm going to take a little time and talk about one of the questions I've been getting a lot, which is if we do have a pullback in 2025, how is that going to impact the peak top of the crypto cycle that's ahead of us? Those are some great questions to tackle in today's video. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for already hitting the like. If you hit the like, it sends the video out to more viewers and pumps the page, and I appreciate that. Hit the like and the subscribe if you need help trading these choppy markets and interpreting these charts, as well as learning these charts, because every single video I do has an element of education in it to sharpen your understanding of how to make money on Wall Street. I've got to take a minute and acknowledge how important it is to the American economy that China is aggressively easing and that the Chinese stocks are pumping right now. The fact is that this is where a lot of money is rolling into because that has just begun. Now, they've moved up very, very quickly. But let me tell you something that I'm confident in. The bottom is behind us. The trend has been reversed. And so it's time to seriously begin to look at buying some of the Chinese names on any form of a dip. Now, with having said that, I want to remind you that you want to be an investor in quality companies, companies with increasing revenues and increasing profit margins. But I'm going to be talking more about the Chinese stocks in the days ahead. Now, we actually are still dealing with hurricane season and storms that could impact the economy and cause the future jobs numbers to not be as rosy as today's numbers. So all that we've set up for today is the opportunity to possibly have this blow off top here in the next 4 to 6 weeks. But once future job numbers potentially impacted by hurricanes and storms actually roll in, that could be a problem. So I am still very leery of how the market's going to perform at the end of this year and going into first quarter of next year. But the bottom line, though, is that when those storms hit, the U.S. will spend their way out of them. And even the Middle East storm, which is yet to be resolved, is another area where the printing presses will be fired up. All of this creates that vicious cycle that pushes us back towards inflation that at the moment is under control. But as we begin to spend our way out of these problems, we're simply throwing more gasoline on the fire and it will flare back up. All right, before I jump into the SPY chart, I want to briefly touch on the Tesla chart because that's been a play of interest this entire week. And it did something technically by the end of close, which was extremely important. And if it holds on Monday, it's signaling a bigger move up. That, together with the fact that we've got a big event on the October 10th and the earnings at the end of this month, causes Tesla to remain as a front and center pick for this page because I think there's still money to be made on it. And today, it was my largest winner out of all my plays. I bought the very lowest candle of the day and ran it up over 110% profit. If I had held it longer into close, I would have closed with 150% profit, but I did take profits and I'm prepared to take another position on Monday. I'm hoping for a pullback. Let's go look at that chart. So we're looking at the daily candles. Tesla had one goal today, and that was to close above 250 and not get rejected at 250, which was an area of resistance. And we actually closed the day at $250.08. And so we have officially broken through that area of resistance. Now, what we need to see is we need to see a candle open on Monday above 250. We need to see that 250 price hold over the course of the morning, and that gives us a new price target of 253. But you can see right now where this is heading. There's a very strong move here. This pullback was a massive buying opportunity, and we can absolutely get back to the top of this range. If Tesla closes above 253 on Monday, then the new target is $276. We are absolutely going to get back to local highs where we left off on the last run up. And again, it was worth taking a risk on Tesla and buying the dip. It has consistently been worth buying the dip on Tesla. All right, let's talk a little bit about the SPY. I'm going to show you my chart and then I'm going to talk to you about it. We're going to have a little bit of a micro class on what I see there. Let's go check it out. All right, guys, the SPY is in a very clear ascending triangle. This is not an ascending wedge, which is bearish. An ascending triangle is always bullish once confirmed. Now, what's interesting is we have actually broken the top of our resistance, and we've actually back tested that line. This would be 3 times before taking off. Now, we can look for some additional confirmation on Monday. We want to be above 574. But here's what I want you to understand. The mouth of this triangle gives you the expected move to the upside. And right now, with this technical pattern being confirmed, we're looking at a $625 SPY. The other thing that I want to point out to you is that we will likely move sideways. What's interesting about that is that actually would catch us back up to the top of our previous trend line that we had been respecting before we pulled back in the last couple months. Now, I also want to point out that the uptrend is decisively over the day that the ascending part of this trend line is broken. And so we'd have to go on heightened alert if we ever break beneath this ascending line, both now or in the future. We're going to have to watch that line very carefully because that would signal the end of the up move. So another quick point I want to make is anything in the future that is below this 565 would also be very bearish. And I also want to point out the importance of this 539. This is another extremely important technical number. Selling would absolutely intensify if we ever came down and broke beneath this important 539, which was part of the structure that made up our bullish ascending triangle. So a rising wedge is a bearish pattern, but an ascending triangle is always considered a bullish pattern. This has been confirmed. The pattern has been confirmed. We've broken over the top of our pattern. You need 2 touches on the top line and 2 touches on the bottom line. We got that. This is undeniably the pattern that I see on the SPY. And the width of the mouth of that triangle is pointing to a massive move up to 620. Now, we will watch that bottom support line to make sure that it doesn't get broken and that the story doesn't shift or change. But I can tell you that at this moment in time, we ended this week with an extremely strong bullish chart on the SPY, pointing us to a higher move. And so at the moment, it does look like October. In addition to that, we see that crypto has been blasting off, right? And so It was a very short pullback on crypto. It seems like we're moving quickly back to the upside. And one of the questions I've been getting a ton, because I've talked about the fact that we do have to deal with a recession in the days ahead. We're not going to be able to avoid that. I did get some comments, people saying that they've been hearing about recession for the last 3 years and that just don't believe it. But I'll tell you that we will have a correction. We will have a recession moment. The only question is, how long is that going to be? And how deep of a recession is it going to be? If we were to wrap it up in months and come back 30%, that would be the best case scenario. A bad recession would last over a year to a year and a half, and it would go down 30 to 40 to 50%. At the moment, I don't see a bigger recession. There's no corresponding crisis or catalyst that should cause the economy to go down. All that we're dealing with is the potential for companies to slow down and for revenues to slow down and for profit margins to slow down while the economy is absorbing the massive cost of inflation that we've had to deal with over the last couple of years that were a result of the incredible spending that had been done beforehand. So we do have problems in the economy. I know that some people don't fully understand them, but we have moments of contraction and moments of expansion. And today's SPY chart, as well as Bitcoin chart, was telling you that we are getting ready to go into a moment of expansion, causing us to go higher. Now, will the recession bring down Bitcoin? I'm just going to speculate on that because it's really more of a conversation. Nobody knows the answer for sure exactly what will happen in the future because there's other factors, other micro and macro events that will impact what Bitcoin will do. But I'm just going to tell you that it is a risk-on asset and it's actually more liquid than your home or your car. And yes, when people are scrambling for cash, and I talked about this in yesterday's video, that we are at the highest personal corporate debt level that Americans have ever been at before. Delinquencies are at a record high. We're breaking records for debt and delinquency right now. People are going to have to scramble for cash, and they're going to pull them out of risky investments, especially when more of the data comes out that employment is going higher and that corporate earnings are shrinking. That's when people are going to scramble and begin to lock in their gains that they've enjoyed in 2023 and 2024. So in this video, I wanted to emphasize how bullish the chart was. I wanted to let you know that technically I see a path all the way to 620, as well as I see a path for big tech to go back to all-time highs and climb higher. But I also have to leave you with this emphasis that there is going to be a price to be paid. I think it's coming down the road. I think it'll come after the election. And just like the dock workers strike, it's been kicked down the road, probably to January. Let me know what you guys think. What was your biggest money maker today? Let me know in the comments section. Hit that like, hit the subscribe to get the next prediction, and make sure you come and join us in the Stocks with Josh Discord. It's a wonderful community, a ton of great education and money being made.